Good morning. Thanks for joining me on the live today. Obviously, I'm not on a horse, and that is because as soon as the live is over, we're going to be headed to a National Range Cow Horse Association show in West Monroe, Louisiana, and they're out there loading the trailer. I think they're about done loading the trailer. Pretty much all we have left to do is put horses in and go. But I wanted to do the live and talk to everyone first. I figured since I'm not on a horse today to talk about the horse, I wrote down the names of all the horses in the barn, and I figured I'd go down the list and kind of talk about each one and what they're here for, how much longer they'll be here, kind of what I'm working on. If you got any questions about any of them in particular, you can ask me. I don't do like a written lesson plan, but I have basically a lesson plan in my mind for each horse. Every horse comes in and we work it and we see where it's at. And then I've talked to the owner about what their goals are, where they want the horse to be when it goes home. And I kind of have a lesson plan in my mind. I used to write it down, but it just got to where that was just more time consuming than it's worth. And so we'll talk about each one. I got several going home within the next week or two. Got a couple coming in the next week or two, and going to kind of be changing horses a good bit over the next couple weeks. We'll talk about those, what's leaving, what's coming in. We're actually, our weather is a little bit cooler, although walking around out here, it don't feel a whole bunch cooler. But where we were having temperatures of about 100 with heat index of 110, now our temperatures, our highs are about 90 with our heat index about 100. So we're cooling off about 10 degrees in the heat of the day. It's hot and muggy. I'm already sweating today. But the heat of the day isn't as bad. And we can tell a difference. I haven't been as tired when I get done. And I can tell a difference with the horses too. At 10 degrees from 100 to 110 makes a huge difference in just everybody's attitude, I guess. Mind the horses, everybody. So we're really enjoying the little bit cooler weather, and it looks like, according to the long range forecast, we're supposed to get even a little bit more, even a little cooler next week, which it's good to see. I'm watching the tropics, the two closest storms. I don't think they're going to be any threat to us. That one that just came off of Africa that's a little bit lower, it looks like it's below that 20-degree line. Usually when they're below that 20-degree line, I watch it a little closer. That seems to be what makes a big difference, is whether it comes into the Gulf or not. Those first two look like they're going to turn up into the Atlantic, so I'm keeping an eye on that other one. Hopefully it doesn't threaten us at all. About a week ago, we actually had, probably most people don't even realize it, there was a tropical thing that formed right at the mouth of the river, the Mississippi, we call the river, Mississippi River. And like it formed and within 12 hours moved over the top of us. And it formed so quick, there really wasn't any wind in it to speak of, but we got a lot of rain. We had somewhere around 8 or 9 inches of rain here. And I've heard of some places actually a little east of us that had as much as 12 inches of rain overnight within like 12 hours. And 12 inches of rain in 12 hours is a lot of rain. Where we are, it's all pretty sandy here. So it usually soaks into the ground pretty quick. We're close to the Gulf, so we don't have a whole lot of flooding here. There's a few creeks around us that'll come up and flood a little bit, but usually it takes rain further north of us for that to really be affected. We're right on the Gulf, and usually the tide coming in and out affects the river height up and down. That's how close to the Gulf we are. So there's not a whole lot of flooding around here, thankfully. And that was a good bit of rain that we had. If you got any questions, put in the comments, and I'll start talking about these horses. Trying to cut down on my Diet Mountain Dew. I started drinking this sparkling ice. This is the coconut pineapple flavor. I don't know how much better it is for me, but it's not Diet Mountain Dew anyways.
We have Deb. She said it is 59 comfortable in Connecticut. Gail is in New York 62, Mary Lynn 78, and 80% humidity. She's in Louisiana.
Yeah, Louisiana weather is real similar to ours. Where in Louisiana are you? We're going to West Monroe, leaving as soon as this live is done. Uh, I'm not. Are you up to the north part of Louisiana or the south part of Louisiana? Temperatures in the northeast sound really good. 59, 62. That sounds pretty nice.
Mary Lynn.
Oh, Maryland. Yeah, Maryland is the one in Louisiana. I was just Bossier City. Yeah, you're down south. We go that direction once in a while. We show in New Iberia once in a while, which I don't think too far from Bossier City.
Gail, we're at 62 in upstate New York. I said sounds nice, but I'd probably be chilly. She said I'm freezing.
Yeah, I would be chilly at 62. Bossier City. That's I think I got it mixed up. That's up northwest, I believe. Uh, can't remember. Having a gray hair moment.
We also have Sebastian on Ty. I see a few new names: Angeline, Jennifer, Deborah. We have Erica. She's on super hot for us in Montana right now, running around 95 to 100.
Oh wow, 95 in Montana. I've actually one of the horses that's leaving is headed back to Montana, and I'll talk about her. She actually handled our heat really well.
Jennifer said it's 71 with a high of 86, down from 95 earlier this week. She's a few hours south of Yellowstone.
South of Yellowstone. So y'all having some pretty warm weather up in that northwest.
Oh, Ty said congratulations, Tim, getting 40,000 on YouTube.
Oh yeah, thank you. I crossed 40,000 yesterday or a day before, so yeah, I appreciate it.
Angeline, Florida, she's been watching the storms and keeping fingers crossed for mellow hurricanes.
Yeah, hopefully it's going to be a quiet hurricane season. We've actually had several quiet years. It almost feels like it's time for something to threaten us, but we'll keep our fingers crossed.
Mary Lynn said it's in northwest Louisiana.
Northwest, that's right. It's up by, yeah. That's okay.
Raven said Leo's in the trailer. He wants to come with us.
Leo's in the trailer. He's not out here. And it's funny, every time a vehicle comes, he gets in it, him or the other one, the Crow. Yeah, the trailer's right on the other end of the barn there. I see Leo walking around the trailer. As soon as we get done with the live, we're going to load up. Well, let's talk about a few of the horses that we have. I'll run down a list. I wrote their names down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. There's 11 names on the list. A little bit of overlap. I usually try to keep about 10 in training, but I have 3 that's going home, and I had 2 that just came in. I also have a couple more going home and a couple more coming in. So just coordinating, coming and going. Sometimes the numbers fluctuate up and down a little bit. But let's talk about Epic first. That is one of the 2 Grulas that came in. They practically look like twins, except Epic has a little bit of white on one foot. And he came in. I think both of these are 4, if I remember right. Same age, 3-quarter brothers. And Epic has an issue. She said that both of these have been ridden by a trainer that started them, I think 60, 90 days, something in that range. And she got him home. As long as his head was to the right, walking to the right, fine. As soon as he turned his head, or to the left, he was fine. As soon as she turned his head to the right, he bucked her off. So I've done a video of him, and we talked about that right side. And it's funny. You get horses doing like that, and the first thing people say is vision. And I kind of left it open in the video, maybe vision, maybe not, and people just jumped on the bandwagon. And I never say what vet work these horses have had before they come in. I have a good idea. Most of them I know what vet work's done, but I'm kind of skeptical about certain things. I want to see for myself. Kind of like that trust but verify. Different vets are kind of have different specialties, and he has had his vision checked out by a vet. It's okay. In fact, the vet said it's a behavioral issue. So I kind of leave that open in the videos for people to form their own opinions. Often people don't. They try to. They'd spend $20,000 of somebody else's money ruling out a medical issue before they decide, okay, maybe it is training, maybe it is behavioral. There has to be a balance there. It's easy to tell somebody else they need to spend their money to rule out this medical issue. And actually, she already took him to a vet. The vet already ruled out that medical issue. It's not a vision problem. And it's behavioral. And it's a matter of he needs to be broker. He's got a little bit of temper when it's on that side. And I had a horse many, many years ago. One of the first, I think it's from my first young horse, I think, that I bought for me. It was the Hot Express spread, and I can't remember what else. Gunsmoke, Mr. Gunsmoke, and the Hot Express. So if you're familiar with those two lines, you know I had my hands full. And this horse was left side very side and right side very, very different. And some days the left side would be really broke and the right side would be bad, and some days the right side would be really good and the left side would be really bad. It was almost like every horse has good side and bad side, but this horse, the good side and bad side swapped sides, and they were very extreme. And I had my hands full with her. If she didn't belong to me, I probably would have sent her home. But she belonged to me, and I worked her through a lot of that. I actually won a little bit. I think I won a couple AQHA points on her in working cow horse, but she was a lot of work. Uh, they say when you have a boat, your second best day of owning a boat is the day you buy it, and the best day of owning a boat is the day you sell it. Kind of felt that way about that horse. The best day I had with her was the day I sold her. But Epic, working through some behavioral issues with him. The vet said it's behavioral. And I'm going to continue to kind of keep an eye on that side to make sure he doesn't show me something to make me think it might be medical, that we need to go back and look at it again. But everything so far, it is obviously behavioral issue. Sanita. Sanita is the paint that we took to the National Reining Horse Association show a couple of weeks ago in Tampa. Raven showed her in limited open and won a second place check. I think there was 8 in the class. That was her first National Reining Horse money, and that gave her a permanent show record. She's actually going to be going home now. When they originally sent her to me, she was only supposed to be here a couple of months just to get her a little broker. And she had flunked out of another reining program out in Texas, pretty well known program. In fact, I think he's showing in the Run for the Million this year. And a lot of that situation, she was never going to be the level that he would need to be. He would need a horse to be at to show at that level, that Run for the Million kind of level. So she flunked out of that program. Doesn't mean that she wasn't a good horse. She's a great horse. She's just not that level of horse. And that's the thing about when a horse comes to us. We want every horse to be as good as they can be. So we worked her. I think she's been here right at 8 months. Uh, Pretty close to finished out her reining training. She could use a little bit more work with her flying lead changes. But she's a pretty nice horse. And now that she has a show record, a permanent show record that will follow her, they're going to take her home. She's basically just going to be a family horse, just a good, safe family horse. They've got a couple of kids, and they're going to ride her around and have fun with her, and she's going to love it. But now that she has a show record, they decide to breed her and have a couple colts out of her. Then those colts are going to be worth more money. So they spent more money with me with training so that she could attain her potential, and that they're going to get that payback later when they breed her and sell her babies. And she was a really nice horse. We really enjoyed having her here, and she's a character. She has a big personality. Any questions so far?
Yes. Okay. We have Sebastian. How do you deal with the challenges of horses coming to you from such different climates? Not really something we need to deal with here. And then Gail has a follow-up that question. Moving a TV mayor from New York to Florida, any advice?
Yeah, Sebastian asked about how do I deal with horses coming in from such varying climates. And who'd you say was moving one from? Gail's moving a thoroughbred from New York to Florida. And over here in the United States, that is an issue because we're a big country. Horses come in from all over. And depending on the horse, there's different considerations you have to do. Um, when they come in from an area that doesn't get the heat like what we get, a lot of times I'll work them in different parts of the day. I might work those first thing in the morning. I'll change when their turnout time is. They might get turned out at night as opposed to others will get turned out during the day. And I try to kind of acclimate them to our climate to a point, depending on how long they're going to be here, because I think that makes them just kind of generally healthier horses. Some horses that come have a harder time with the temperature than others. Guinevere, I'll talk about her in a minute. She came from Montana and has had no issues with our heat, none. It's like she's lived here all her life, but here in the temperature in Montana right now, y'all get some pretty hot days. So she's had no issues. Now I had, I can't remember his name, a buckskin that came in from the Northeast a while back. That was such a nice horse that we won some stuff on him. But he came from Massachusetts, I believe, and he had a really hard time with our summer. I had to treat him for ulcers a couple of times. He couldn't go out hardly at all except at night. And so every horse is a little bit different, and I just kind of address it as per each horse. And some of the horses, like Qatar, has had a little bit of issue more with the humidity than the heat. He's had a little bit of itchy skin. We've given him a couple of medicated baths and trying to help him with that itchy skin. So it just depends on each individual horse and what issues they have, and just kind of treat the symptoms as they come up.
We do have one question.
Okay.
Okay, we have Lisa. For a horse like Grace, is it more beneficial to ride them in a bit rather than bitless, as you're trying to rebuild their muscle, nerve, brain connection?
Okay, good question. She's asking about Grace, and that's the one that's here for EPM rehabilitation, physical therapy. I guess really the better way to put it. And part of her physical therapy is she needs to uh, regenerate the numbness that's in her back end, and it's just like physical therapy with a spinal cord injury. It's numb. She has a little bit of muscle loss back there. So I need to build some muscle on her back, on her top line, get her to engage her back end better so that we can exercise those muscles. And in the process of exercising, we'll get the muscle back. We'll get a certain amount, some depending on the situation of the numbness will go away. And in order to do that, there's June. In order to do that, we've got to get her to carry her body correctly. And not that it can't be done without a bit, but the thing about it is it's a lot harder to get it done without a bit. And time wise, she's pretty unfit. So I need to really make the most of my training. Usually about 10 or 15 minutes is about all she can handle at one time. And I can get more work done in that time with a bit than what I would be able to get done without by riding bitless. So it's you could get it done bitless, but it's not going to be what's best for the horse. In general, I don't agree with riding bitless at all because you don't have the tools to help the horse carry their body correctly. And I know that's a big fad out there right now. And there's a push for associations to change their rules to allow you to show bitless. And in a way, I'm kind of hoping that passes. I know I think FEI is thinking about it. I'm not sure what ones in the U.S. are thinking about it, but I would love to see how the average scores go, like dressage scores, with bitless horses versus bitted horses. And the argument for bitless is the horse is happier, and you don't have the harsh piece of metal in their mouth if you believe that it's harsh. But the other side of that, the negative side, is the horse doesn't carry his body as well. That's why I'm not using it with Grace. So I'd really love to see a comparison, if an association does pass that, with bitted versus bitless, and see. It's going to reflect in the scores. And I know people that don't show is going to make all kind of excuses why that doesn't apply, but it really does, because how they carry themselves is going to have a large factor in how they score. Any other questions before I go on?
Dusty posted, have a colt coming back to work after major surgery, been stall and small pin bound, dot, 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 but he hasn't followed up.
Okay, sound like Dusty's having a colt to come back that's been stalled after surgery. It's very smart if you have a horse that's had any kind of conditions, a surgery and been stalled, or EPM. I've get them sometimes after surgery from kissing spine. Anytime we have pretty much any surgery, any procedure, most procedures, they want physical therapy as a follow-up. And with most procedures that's done with horses, they need that physical therapy as a follow-up. So often a horse will get a procedure like the one Dusty's talking about that had a procedure. I'm not sure what it is. And then afterwards, they throw it out to pasture. And they're missing a huge part of the healing process, in my opinion.
Sebastian said, I think people look at horse standard of riding and assume a bit is harsh, but it's entirely down to the way the rider uses it, as with anything.
Yeah, so that's a good point, Sebastian. They look at the standard of riding with a bit, and they consider it harsh. But with anything, it's with any tool, it's how it's used. I mean, you can be uh, abusive with a bit. You can be abusive with a boselle. I've seen horses' noses rubbed raw riding with a boselle. I mean, it's just all in the rider's hands. So let's work down the list. Basta is the next one on my list. That's the one that had a really, really hard time getting her started. Just nothing was typical with her. Nothing with her worked like it was supposed to. Uh, None of the typical training worked. And I have a video coming out of her. It should be out sometime this weekend, Saturday or Sunday. I'm not sure which. Where I'm actually riding her out, and she has made a huge turn in the right direction. And I'm riding her out. She's doing great. I got good steering control, good speed control. Still saddling her in a stall because she still gets wide-eyed when I go in the stall and go to put the saddle on. So there's still some things that need to get better. But I think with plenty of miles on her, now that we're to the point where I can ride her out with plenty of miles, all this other stuff is going to get better. And I've said from the beginning she was going to make a good horse, and I still say she's going to make a really good horse. She's actually to the point of being fun. She still needs to work past. She's not too crazy about the rider pushing her to do something. She'll go practically anywhere she wants to go, but she don't like to be told to go. But if we can work through that, I might work through that, or that might have to be something the owner works through when she gets her home. If that connection is ever made, that horse is going to be unstoppable. That's going to be a heck of a endurance horse or a competitive trail horse. She's going to be good. So the next one I have on the list is Guinevere. I have a video of her coming out, also riding her out. She's been here, I think, around 5 months. Started her really bad bucker when we first started her, and she's a foxtrotter, I believe, and got her going good, riding her out. Really, she's another one that's really enjoyable to ride out. She's bored in here because we spent so much time in here getting that bucking under control. Out, she's a really nice horse. Got some neck rein going on her, got some leg control going on her. Really, really fun horse to ride out. Her horses, that's the one that's going to be shipping back to Montana. She's leaving the end of next week, I believe, to go back to Montana. And her owners have a pretty large cattle ranch up there, and she's mainly going to be used to move cows and check fence. And if you remember last year, I had a horse here. I think Steele was his name. That Steele and Guinevere are actually full brother and sister. Very, very different horses. Steele was easier to start, but didn't make out to be as good of a riding horse as far as riding out. Guinevere was hard to start, but ended up making a really good horse riding out. Next on the list of horses here is Stash. He's the roan that I have. He was sent to him because his owner bought him, and it didn't feel as broke, didn't feel as broke as what she was expecting him to be. And I got him here, worked through some things, and I think his issue wasn't so much that he wasn't broke. I think his issue was that he acted like he'd been used as a school horse, and where school horses learn to kind of play some games to get out of doing what the rider asks. That really feels more of what his situation was. He's doing good now. His owner is actually going to be here next week to spend a couple days riding with me, so I can work with her and the horse together. I try to encourage as many people as I can, as that can come, to do that, and I think that sets the horse and the rider up for success when it goes home. Any other questions?
Yes, Ty. If a horse comes to you for training and you don't know how much training they have, will you put them in a snaffle bit?
Okay, so Ty's asking if a horse comes to me for training and I don't know how much training they have, will I put them in a snaffle bit? Yeah, even when I know the horse is a more advanced horse, I'm just about always going to put it in a snaffle bit to start with. It might only be one ride because I want to make sure that horse is giving his head laterally to me. And usually some horses just that one ride, some horses more than that. But I think just about everything I'll put in a snaffle bit if I'm unsure. The only time I may not do that is if I know this is a much more advanced horse, maybe a horse that has shown, maybe I've seen it show or I've seen video of it show, and I know it's a much further along horse that I know they're that far along, then I might skip the snaffle bit. But if I'm unsure, yeah, I'm always going to put them in a snaffle bit first.
He said Ranger's doing great. Started working with the feedback with him, and she thinks he's almost ready to introduce them.
Oh, great, Elkie. She has a colt she's been working with that came to her uh, practically wild and untouched. And we've been talking a lot, and I've been trying to help guide her through getting her colt, getting a hand on it. It's young, um, and it's making really good progress. And I've got quite a few people all around the world, really, that we message back and forth regular and ask me questions, and I'll answer their questions and try to help point them in the right direction. And most of that is on Patreon, where my Patreon followers are. When I have a few minutes to answer questions and respond to comments, I always go to Patreon first. I'll answer those questions first, and then if I have time to go on to YouTube and Facebook and answer those, then I will. But I always answer Patreon first. So if you want some individualized help, whether it's just having a little bit of communication and having your questions answered, follow me on Patreon and we'll do that. Or we could even do some video lessons there. The next one on the list is Ryder. Ryder is another one that came to me to be started. And he was a rough one to start. He was a pretty good bucker. And he's doing good. We've actually hauled him to a show, a stock horse show, mainly just to get him out to haul him, and planning on hauling him to some more. His owner came last week and spent some time and rode him, and he's going to end up being a really nice horse. He's been, not sure where we're at with him, 5 months, something like that. and hauling him to some shows, getting a few things kind of worked out. He really don't want to go forward. It's kind of funny. He'd rather drag this log for an hour than go out front and lope for 5 minutes. That he's turned out to be a really nice horse. That's Ryder. He's going to be with me through the winter. I've got a couple that's going to be staying with me through the winter so that I can keep them fit, keep them advancing. Mr. T is another one. Not sure where he is. He hangs out right here a lot. He's another one that's going to be with me through the winter, and he's kind of a maintenance thing. I'm only riding him about once or twice a week just to kind of keep him going. But Ryder is going to be in steady training through the winter, and by the springtime, he's going to be ready to go show and be pretty competitive.
Ty wants to know if there's any Western stores or tack stores near you available.
Okay, no, there is no good Western stores or tack stores. There's a couple of stores. There's one about an hour west of me in Gulfport, and most everything around here kind of is geared towards barrel racers. That's what most of this area is. It's not really tack stores that I shop at. I usually show in Amite, Louisiana, once or twice a year. There's a tack store, a Western store there. I can't remember the name of it. I know it's west of Amite in Montpelier, I think, but it's within an easy drive of Amite, Louisiana. And I want to say it's Big Bear, Black Bear, or something. I don't remember. Something with a bear. That's the closest good tack store. Bear Creek. That's it. Bear Creek Western Store. That's really the closest one to me, and that one's probably 2.5 hours away. Most of what I get, I have to order. There's nothing good close to me. The next one on my list is Stetson. Stetson is the black horse with the long mane and real pretty tail, real big mover. He is. A lot of people ask what breed he is. He is Frisian Morgan cross. And when you know what the breed is, and then you watch him move, it's like, oh yeah, he moves exactly like his cross says he should. And in general, I'm typically not a big fan of crossing breeds because you stand a chance. You could get the best of both breeds. You could get the worst of both breeds, or you could get just a weirdly mix, and the front half of the horse looks like one breed, the other half of the horse looks like a different breed. So typically, I'm a little gun shy with mixing breeds, but he is one that has really got the best of both breeds, and he's been really nice. His owner is going to be showing him in dressage. So I've been working on getting him a little bit broker, and a lot of horses that come in. I saw his sale video, and I get a lot of people comment, and I say I did this and it took this long, and they work on a ranch out and wherever, and oh, I could have got that done in a week, or I could have got that done in a month. And yeah, you could get it done, but it's not going to look good in a show pen. And that's kind of how Stetson was. He was, I believe he was Amish broke, if I remember right. I saw his video, and he was doing some big things, some nice things, but he wasn't really looking good doing it. So a lot of what I've been working on with him is kind of backing up and retraining some of these basics, retraining some leg yield, retraining some hunches in, and getting him to do the maneuvers, but do the maneuvers in a way that he looks happy and he looks good doing it. I see stuff posted on Facebook all the time, and their intention of posting the video is they post a horse with a picture of his face or picture of whatever, and the horse has a really bad expression, and then the article goes on to talk about how bad showing horses is. And what they don't realize is those horses, if you show them, and there's some horses that do show that have bad expressions, those horses don't place good. And you can use those pictures as an example to down show horses, to put them down. Those horses don't show good. So really, it's an apple and oranges thing. That's like Sunita there. Sunita shows good. She looks good. I posted some videos of her in the show, from the show. When you look at her, it's like, wow, that looks really good. She looks happy. She looks like she's having fun. That's what places. And that's in the Western classes that we show. That's the horse has to look good doing it. The horse has to look like it enjoys doing it. One of Rule A General, National Reining Horse Association, is the horse has to be willingly guided with little or no apparent resistance. And that has carried from reining through most of the Western events, although they haven't adopted it word for word. The horse has to be willingly guided with little or no apparent resistance. And if you have a horse and you've got him bound up and he has the picture of the frame, but his facial expressions aren't happy, well, that's resistance, and that's going to reflect in your scores. And in many ways, a lot of the Facebook commenters, some of the people that have pages, and some of them have pretty large pages that post things like that, they're really not up on what judges are looking for now. They talk about judges at these shows, and it's not what places. And you can go to YouTube, and there's a lot of YouTube channels that shows shows going on right now. You can go to YouTube and watch live shows. In fact, this show we're going on to this weekend, I think is going to be live casted at the show. I'm not sure how, but it was last year, so I assume it is this year. And you can watch the horses, and there's going to be horses there that you might like the way they look. Horses there you might not like the way they look, but that's going to be reflected in the scores. That's going to be reflected in who wins. Okay.
This is from Ken and Suzanne Duber. Is it possible to watch your daily routine at a horse show? You've done a bit of it in the past. It's so helpful to see for the rest of us just starting to show.
Yeah, as far as watching daily routine of the horse show, and that's actually, if you're looking for a trainer to send a show horse to, that you want to show in reining or cow horse or whatever, I really suggest that you go to a show and don't watch the show arena. Watch the warm-up arena. Watch when those open trainers are getting these horses ready to show. That's what you really need to look at to decide which horse you want to, or which trainer you want to send your horse to. That's probably the warm-up pen for us open riders. To me, is the best education that we can get. We're and the events that I show in, all the trainers know each other. We're all friends. We all talk about, hey, I'm having this issue with this horse, or they're having that issue with that horse, and you talk amongst each other. Most of us do, and that warm-up pen is really, really eye-opening. But there's going to be some trainers there that you watch, and you're going to kind of see that nobody's kind of hanging around them. They're off to themselves, and they're going to be doing things with the horse that you're not going to want your horse in their barn. So that's really the way, I think, to pick the show trainer that you want. And normally I'll talk about what my warm-up routine is. I've done quite a few videos about that. But when I'm in a show, I'm focused on getting that horse prepared and showing that horse. So I have not done any videos of that. If I did, that's going to take away from me being able to prepare that horse well. So I doubt I would ever do any videos of that. It's hard to do both things well. And that's like I generally haul two different groups of people. I haul, or two different groups of horses. This show here is horses that me and Raven are taking for us to show to school and be competitive on. We don't typically coach other riders at this show. Now we have a different circuit we go to, and that circuit is where we coach riders, because it's hard to coach riders and get horses prepared and show and do a good job at both. So we do two different circuits, and because of that, we're going quite a few weekends. And but it's generally just a long weekend, usually Friday, Saturday, Sunday kind of thing. This show where we're leaving on Thursday is really unusual. We rarely leave on Thursday. We had to for the Tampa show because we showed Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and this show will show Friday, Saturday, Sunday, but most of them are just Saturday, Sunday shows.
Ty wants to know if you have a favorite breed to ride and work with.
Ty's asking, do I have a favorite breed to ride and work with? I've been asked this question before, and I really don't have a favorite breed. There's good horses and not good horses in every breed, and I just like riding a good horse. It don't matter to me if it's a quarter horse, an Appaloosa, a Frisian, an Andalusian. It really don't matter. I just like riding a good horse, and whatever breed that is. I personally own quite a few different breeds, and to me, it's more about the individual horse than it is the breed. I had an Arabian. It was sent to me. I didn't own it, and I actually won a lot on this Arabian with National Reining Horse Association and National Rein Cow Horse Association. So it's all on the individual horse, and that's really what my preference is. How are we on time?
9:41.
Okay, good deal. Make sure we get on the road here pretty soon. So the next one on my list is Firecracker. Firecracker is the one that was sent to me to teach to be a driving horse, and she is half quarter horse, half Peruvian, I believe, and she has really taken to driving really good. I've posted some videos of dragging some logs around, putting her in the PVC shafts, and driving her around, steering, and she's taken to everything really good. I actually went to hook her up to the cart the other day, and I've got some issues that I have to work out. I need to bend the shafts on the cart out a little bit. They're a little too tight. She's kind of she doesn't have a very big heart girth, and she's long. So what I've got to do is my shafts are a little too short. I got to get them a little longer. I got to bend them out, and I've got to put a different harness on her. The rings on the side that hold the shafts needs to be up. So I've actually talked to her owner, and she's actually sending me another saddle to put on her, another driving saddle to try to get those shafts up, and then I'm going to make some modifications to the cart. I used to train a few driving horses, and it got to where there's so many different size horses. It takes so much equipment to do it. So many different size harnesses, different size carts. It was too cost prohibitive to keep training driving horses. So I quit training horses, but Firecracker's owner has furnished me with the harness and cart and everything that I need, and so I went on and took her, and she's turning out to be a really nice horse, and started easy, and I hope she stays easy. Hope she makes up for some of these that are a little bit harder. You got a question?
Yes, from Angelique. Any more arrays coming in? I have two and really appreciate your understanding of their needs and training. Really enjoyed videos with it.
Okay, Angelique's asking if I have any more Arabians coming in. I don't right now. I have trying to think of what's coming. Actually, on my way back from this show, somebody's beat me with a horse that I'm going to be bringing back, and this is a horse that I had in training maybe 5 or 6 years ago. Really nice horse. So that one will be coming in. That one will be new. I've got another horse coming in on the first. I can't remember anything about that horse off the top of my head other than it's coming in.
Do you remember any recent Arabians they have playlists?
Yeah, probably Saber. He's got a playlist if you want to look back at him. I had a smaller Arabian. I can't remember his name. He was sorrel. Yeah, about the same time, maybe a little after. And then I had that gray Arabian. That one actually came in because it had kiss and spine surgery, and it was to rehab the kiss and spine surgery. Um, I don't remember either one of the other two's names. I remember the smaller Arabian was actually that kind of struck me. was owned by, I think it was a Mennonite girl. Phantom was the Black Arabian. That one was a little before Saber, about the same time. That one was a pretty good handful. But the smaller one that was owned by the Mennonite lady, she came in dressed in her typical Mennonite clothes with the skirt. And I asked her if she wanted to ride him, and she said yeah. And she hopped up there and rode him, and she was a hand with a horse. And that, in fact, I've talked to her since then, and he's doing really good, but I can't remember what his name is. Sorrel, just red. I can't remember. I can't remember his name. But that's Firecracker. You'll be seeing more. She's ready to hook up to the cart and drive. So you'll see more of that. The next one I have on my list is Qatar. That's the big Andalusian that I have. A lot of people have asked how big he is. I measured him. He's 16'3", which I'm a lot shorter than what a lot of people realize. I'm only about 5'6", 5'7", so everything looks big next to me. But he's 16'3". I'm actually going to be delivering him home in a couple of weeks and give his owner some lessons with him. He's the one that I've done some videos and talked about. He's an Andalusian, but he's actually kind of cowy. So I have to work him more like a cow horse than say a reining horse. And I think he was imported from Spain. His owner is going to be showing him in dressage. And I think I just need to kind of work with her on the differences of how he needs to be trained, because he is so cowy. So he has that kind of mind. And he's really nice. I have a video coming out, I think maybe tomorrow, about him, where I'm working him out front in my arena. And really, really good ride. He's really attentive to me. His ears is kind of moving around. In fact, I think my thumbnail, I'm actually doing an extended canter on him, and his ears is nice and soft and relaxed. Really, really soft, relaxed horse. Really, really nice horse. I rode him out front a while back, and it was pretty wet, and his ears was locked forward, which you can use that to your advantage, especially if they're looking outside the arena. A lot of Arabians, I'll put a lot of stuff on the ground to help get them to focus in. Well, him, the arena being wet, he was focusing in. And the other day when I made that video, really, really nice. He was focused on me. Really, really good ride. He'll be going home soon. I'll actually be delivering him home. I don't leave very much. I have quite a few local people ask me to come work with them at their place, and I just about always turn them down. I've got one coming up I might go work with. We'll see. It's so hard for me to leave here. I've got a full barn of horses to ride, and if I leave here, even if I'm only driving 30 minutes to work a horse, I'm going to end up losing half a day. So it doesn't work out very good. I know there's a pretty big YouTube channel, and that's what he does, is travel around and work with horses at their place. And I won't say much more about that. I wish he would have more follow-up, so because a lot of what he does is not necessarily wrong, but I know it's going to cause issues later. But let's move on. So the next one on my list was Grace. We already talked about her. That's the one with EPM. She is still on medication for EPM, but she actually finished her parasite medicine. That's done, but she's still on her vitamin E. She's still on some other stuff to help her build her muscles back up, to help her recovery. And she's doing really good. When she first came in, she couldn't hardly put together movement to move out. She's Peruvian, I think. Can't remember what breed she is. But she was having a hard time maintaining her motion front to back. The back end was having a hard time keeping up with the front end. And I think she's a foxtrotter. But she was having a hard time keeping up with the front to back rhythm. And now that I've been riding her, I think we're coming up on 2 weeks now. And she's putting it together. And she needs to lose some weight. She still needs to build some muscle, still have a ways to go, but you can see it start to come together. And at this point, she just needs that physical therapy. And I'd originally talked to that owner about some behavioral issues that she was having with the horse, and that's how my initial conversation with her had started. And most of these horses that come to me have had vet checks before they come. I don't really talk about that for a reason. I think that's kind of personal information. But she had a vet check before she came, and the vet is the one that found the EPM. And it was kind of a long story there because they suspected EPM a year or two ago. It had blood work done. Blood work ruled it out. But the tail pull test pretty much obviously showed EPM. I don't put a whole lot of credibility in the blood tests. You have to kind of use it with other diagnostic stuff. But anyways, vet said she did have EPM, put her on medication for it, and physically she's doing much better, but also the behavior issues are just disappeared. And in her case, I think a lot of the behavioral issues stemmed from her back end being a little bit numb and the back end not being able to keep up with the front end. And that was kind of worrying her a little bit. And that's corrected itself. And anytime I get a horse in, I'm always aware of those things, but I'm not going to pursue a route unless I think that is actually the situation, because that situation with her EPM, I do think caused her behavioral issues, but that's not always the case. More often it's a behavioral issue. So you have to really pay attention to the horse and look at the whole picture of the horse. I'll show a 15-minute video of a horse, and then you can look at the horse and make whatever diagnostic or whatever you think. But I've got the horse in the barn for 24 hours a day. I'm watching the horse the whole time he's here, not just the little piece that you see on the video. So I've got a lot more information to base my opinions on, and there's no way I can go through all of that every time I make a video of a horse. So that's just kind of how it works, just kind of the situation. And when there's a medical issue, I'll pursue it. When there's not, I'm not going to. And if you've watched me for a while, you've seen me do that. So any other questions? No more. Okay, got one more horse, Ironclad. That is I call them twin. We call them twins. That's the one that does not have the white foot. He is he's broker than Epic. Uh, but he's one that has those issues I talked about earlier. He's broke, but he doesn't look good doing the maneuvers. He doesn't look good doing his job. He looks resistant. So I'm backed up with him, trying to get him a little bit softer. His groundwork has not been good. That's the one that burned Raven's hand because he pulled away. And he's pretty sensitive and overreactive. And I've had this conversation with his owner, and she had really backed down on how she asked for things because he was pretty sensitive. And that's okay to a point, but it's a big world out there. And it's kind of like having a sheltered kid, and all of a sudden at 18 years old, they go out into the real world, and it's a big eye-opening event. Well, if everything done with him is really toned down, really soft, and then you take him out into the real world and you try to take him to a trail ride with 30 other horses, or you try to take him to a show, he's going to be so overwhelmed with input that he's not going to be able to function. So what I'm working on with him is I'm giving him a good bit of stimulant and giving him a chance to understand, yeah, there's a lot of stimulant there, but that doesn't mean I need to react. Right now, with I give, say, a level 2 input, with whether that's with my body or the whip or whatever, if I give a level 2 input, he's giving me a level 7 reaction. And that can't, that's not going to work out in the future. If I give a level 2 input, I need a level 2 reaction. If I give a level 7 input, I need a level 7 reaction. His reaction has to match my input. If it don't, then he's going to struggle later in life. And that's a big part of what I'm working with now. And I want to get his, so he's not so sensitive and reactive. And this is something I have to work with Arabian, because they tend to be sensitive and reactive. And if you saw the videos of Saber, I put all kind of stuff in here on the ground to kind of overstimulate him. I worked him with gunfire. I rode him carrying a whip, just to kind of get all that stuff a little bit broke, a little bit toned down, so that his reaction matched my input. That's really, really important for every horse. You can't ride around on a horse afraid to put leg on, afraid to touch them with your legs, because they're going to jump way over this way. It's not a good situation. Any other? Okay. So I'm gonna go ahead and close out. They're all ready to go. They're just waiting on me. We're headed to West Monroe to do a show at a National Range Cow Horse Association show. We'll be showing Bug and Campo. I'll try to get a couple little clips. I don't know if I'll get the full runs, but I'll try to get a couple little clips. Maybe make a post or two, letting you know how we're doing there. I appreciate everybody for joining in on the live today. A little bit different with me not being on the horse, but we adapt and move on. Until next time, thank you for watching.